Coming up, the UI Faculty Senate reviews the office of the General Counsel. And later, witnesses stir up the trial of the former director of the Iowa Hillel House.
The basketball team was not able to hold their lead against Michigan State last night. More for you in sports.
There's only a few more days left of February, and I have a feeling winter won't be joining us in March. Stay tuned for weather to find out more.
All that and more coming up on this Wednesday morning edition of DITV News. Don't go anywhere, DITV starts right now. Good morning and thank you for tuning in. I'm Emily Callahan. The University of Iowa Faculty Senate Review Committee has reported possible changes to benefit the Office of the General Counsel. With more on the story, we have Daily Iowa News editor Katie Ann McCarver in the newsroom. Katie Ann, can you tell us more about the Office of the General Counsel and the challenges it faces?
Yeah, so while the Faculty Senate Review Committee found that the Office of the General Counsel serves the UI very effectively in legal practice, they also found that it is lacking in staff and in funding.
So what improvements has the review committee suggested and how could they affect the Office of the General Counsel?
Yeah, so they made a series of recommendations. They recommended an additional couple of attorneys on the staff. They also recommended additional funding, maybe through state appropriations, tuition revenue, stuff like that. And then they also recommended an Office of Compliance that could help centralize mitigating risk at the university.
That was Katie Ann McCarver live in the newsroom. Thanks, Katie Ann. Now, weather here has been pretty lately in the fact that it hasn't. Melissa has more for us in the weather studio.
Thanks, Emily. Today's going to be another cold and chilly day. We are going to have cloudy skies and a high of 34 degrees, but due to the wind chill, the temperature will feel more like 24. And as we head into tonight, the temperature will drop to 18 degrees, and the clouds from earlier will break up, giving us clear skies and will keep those same mild winds from earlier. Now let's take a look at the extended forecast. On Thursday, it will be partly cloudy with a high of 40 and a low of 22. On Friday, it will be partly cloudy with a high of 38 with some mild winds. This weekend on Saturday, it will be sunny with a high in the low 50s, and as we move it to the first 2 days of March, it's going to have temperatures in the mid 50s, and we're going to have a chance of rain Sunday night and into Monday. Looks like it's time to change those snow boots into our rain boots. Emily, back to you.
Thanks, Melissa. Now, former Iowa Hillel director David Weltman and his defense are set to begin trial March 3rd, pleading not guilty of sexual misconduct that allegedly took place between him and a minor last year. Weltman and his defense have taken issue with specific state witnesses and are pushing back against their testimony. Weltman's attorney, Christopher Foster, argued that these testimonies pertain to events and conversations that happened prior to and after the incident in question. Foster said, quote, "I don't see how the statements or information about alleged acts or statements or whatever might have occurred months after or months before is really relevant to that issue," end quote. The state's team argued the need to establish a pattern and timeline of the crime, and the details given in their witness testimony are vital in proving that Weltman had ill intent with the minor. The state agreed to keep witness testimony focused on the issue at hand. And the annual Floodwater Comedy Festival is returning to Iowa City. With more information on the upcoming events is reporter Olivia Williams.
I'm Olivia Williams reporting to you from outside of Yacht Club, which will be one of the many places hosting events for the Floodwater Comedy Festival. If you're looking for a break away from your studies, the festival will be hosting many events around downtown Iowa City for you to attend. The festival kicks off on Thursday, February 27th and goes up until Saturday the 29th. For more details regarding time and location of the events, and also to purchase your tickets, you can go to www.floodwaterfest.com for more information. All proceeds of the festival will also be going to the National Alliance of Mental Health. I'm Olivia Williams reporting for DITV News. Back to you.
Be sure to check out their website for all the details. But if you want more details on Hawkeye sports, you can stay right here. Tiana has more for us in the sports studio.
Thanks, Emily. The women's basketball team is third in the Big Ten, coming off of a huge 157 win over Penn State last weekend. Hawkeye fans had plenty to cheer for during the game, like a 60% shooting percentage in the second and fourth quarters, and dominant performances by both sophomore Monica Sinano and senior Kathleen Doyle. Sinano led the team with a game high of 23 points and 7 rebounds, and Doyle added 18 points with 7 assists and 5 rebounds. This win gave the Hawks their 35th straight victory in Carver, dating back to last season. Right now, the team is 13-3 in the conference, behind only Northwestern and Maryland. The Hawkeyes are back in action tomorrow night, tipping off against Minnesota at 6:30 at Carver Hawkeye Arena. The men's basketball team didn't have the same luck last night, losing a close one to Michigan State in East Lansing. In the 70-78 loss to the Spartans, Michigan State was able to take sole possession of second place in the conference, while the Hawks slid down to 6th behind 3 teams tied for third place. Going into halftime, the Hawks led 33-27, but weren't able to hold on to that lead in the second half, with Michigan State shooting 60%, while Iowa only shot 36% and went 3 for 15 from the 3-point range. And Joe Wieskamp may have had a game to forget, getting only 4 points and grabbing 5 rebounds. But Luka Garza kept up his pace, playing nearly the entire game and extending his 20 points or more streak to 13 straight games, which ties Hawkeye Fred Brown's record from 1971. The Hawks will hope to bounce back this weekend when they play Penn State this Saturday at Carver. The Iowa wrestling team has not won a Big Ten championship since 2010, which is a long drought for a team as good as the Hawks, capping off an undefeated regular season after the win against Oklahoma State this past weekend. The Iowa wrestling team is gearing up for the postseason, and we have sports director Cade Overton in the newsroom to tell us more. Cade, when are we going to see the Hawkeyes back out on the mat next?
We're going to see them very soon, but before we get into that, I just want to mention that yesterday, Iowa wrestler Pat Lugo was named the Big Ten Wrestler of the Week. He's the 4th different Hawkeye to be named to the award, and one of those names is not Spencer Lee, so obviously the team is doing great. As far as the next time we'll see him, it won't be until March 7th through the 9th when they go to Piscataway, New Jersey to wrestle in the Big Ten Championships. Some might argue that the Big Ten Championships are harder than the NCAA Championships, and I don't blame them because the Big Ten Championships has Iowa, Penn State, Ohio State, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Purdue. All of those teams are ranked in the top 10 in Intermat's rankings, and it's just going to be a crazy weekend full of great wrestling, and we'll see if the Hawkeyes can come out on top.
What can we expect to see out of the Hawks?
There's a lot of different storylines that the Hawkeyes are going to have, and I'll run through a couple of them. The Hawkeyes have only won 1 Big Ten championship in the past 2 years, and that's coming from Alex Marinelli last year when he beat Vincenzo Joseph. Marinelli is 2-1 against Joseph in his career. That one loss coming earlier this season, so Marinelli's going to have his chance at revenge against Joseph later. Spencer Lee has never won a Big Ten championship. He's won 2 NCAA championships, but he's lost before he could win it all in the Big Tens the past 2 years. He's going to be looking to do something he's never done, and he's been great this season, winning 14 out of 15 matches with bonus points. He's just absolutely looked dominant all season long. Look for him to get his first Big Ten championship. And then Pat Lugo wrestling at 149. He's going to have a chance to get his revenge over Ohio State's Sammy Sasau. They've had a battle earlier this season, and we'll see if Lugo can get over the hump. And at 133, Austin DeSanto is going to have a tough time with 3 other ranked wrestlers in the top 5 as well. It's going to be a great weekend of wrestling, and we can't wait to get you some of that footage.
Thanks, Cade. The Big Ten Wrestling Championships are being held on March 7th and 8th in New Jersey. And hopefully the Hawks are able to bring home a title this year. Come back tomorrow for an update on Hawkeye baseball team as they prepare for their series in Minneapolis this weekend. Emily, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Tiana. That's all we have for you today on this Wednesday morning edition of DITV News. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for more information, or head over to dailyiowan.com for all your latest news between Monday and Friday. And if that isn't enough for you, be sure to check out the print edition of news on stands now. For DITV News, I'm Emily Callahan. Have a great day, Iowa City.